I guess it's a little early. There's still just a few people here. So, because usually we have about 30. Maybe it's the holidays. So I'll just speak a little bit what I'm doing, and then when more people are on, we'll continue our study of Bṛhad-bhāgavatāmṛta. I'm here in Mayapur, and Mayapur is Audarya Dham. It's the land of magnanimity, and you can feel it. You can feel each place. In Vrindavan, the mood is Madhurya, intimacy. Krishna is Swayam Bhagavan. Swayam Bhagavan means the full manifestation of Godhead. Just like I say, we are our love. So someone may be a mother, that's one aspect of the person. Someone may be a friend, that's another aspect. Someone may be a boss, and you may, revere your leader. That's another aspect. So, as I mentioned, position covers personality. So Krishna means God at home when he's fully manifest. And there's these three emotions that represent the full manifestation of a person. One is Madhurya, intimacy, when you just, your whole heart comes out. Another is Audarya, compassion, when your whole heart or being comes out. This is my own ideas. And another is Vipralambha, separation, when you're full, without any full freedom of emotion. Even when Prabhupada discussed the different relationships, he discussed the relationship of the gopis and Krishna. There's more freedom. There's no restriction in that spiritual romantic relationship to fully manifest your heart. So this manifests in our three dhams, and because I'm here in Mayapur, and it's been wonderful. In Vrindavan, it's Madhurya. You get love of Godhead by the dust of Vrindavan. Puri, which we'll be going there. You got a great group of people coming. It's the food. You get love of Godhead, and it's Vipralambha, that mood of separation you can feel. And here where I am, it's Mayapur, it's Audarya, it's magnanimity, and you get love of Godhead by the kirtan. So I definitely feel I feel the Audarya, the magnanimity, the way the holy name is manifest. It's just really, and I make a joke, but I could die eating here too, because every day I'm invited different places, and getting a lot of really good association. I think 2 or 3 times I've already taken prasadam with Niranjan Swami and Shivram Swami, so that was kind of nice. And I'll just explain, because I also share my personal realizations. Everyone has a nature, and people who know me I don't like traveling. Certain people can't stop traveling. I just don't like traveling, and it means, your taste in Krishna consciousness is your door to the spiritual world. So we are persons, we have different proclivities. Our purity is if we use everything in Krishna's service, but we tend to use our proclivities. Because the things you like to do, you can offer with the most devotion. That even goes for cooking. They once asked this Haridas Shastri, the most learned scholar in Vrindavan, can you offer pizza to Krishna? And when you approach a scholar, I mentioned this before, like Pradyumna in the Bhakti Center, Prabhupada's Sanskrit Pandit, You don't get an ideological answer. You don't get a political answer. Because our answers tend to be skewed. But you get Shastra. And he said, whatever you like the best, of course, within parameters, you can offer with the most devotion. So it's natural to gravitate toward those activities you like and become most absorbed. Somehow or other, I don't know why, the thing that I become absorbed most in by far is japa. I can't, and a lot of people have problems with that. By far, are the most absorbed. So I don't generally go out at parikram, but Nilambari, she sent me a message and she said, I'm very close with her and her family. She said, she has a friend, Russian friends, speaks English, speaks Bengali. He knows all the places in Navadvip, and he would like to take you and you. So I went. It was just Nilambari and her beautiful little daughter, myself, this devotee Anadi Krishna, his name was, my disciple Vrajadevi from Italy, and this new Bhakta David, who I've kind of become close with. And we went, and you go on the boat, you go to Navadvip and it's crowded. And we went to all these places, even obscure places. But we went, but it was enjoyable for me. I just did Nirjala Kadasi because of the bhav. I was in a certain mood. And when you're in a mood, it's not about the activity, it's about the consciousness. It's the same thing with japa. If the consciousness is right, this repetition of syllables and meditation, if the mood is right, then it becomes pleasurable. Not the activity of repetition of syllables. Of course, there's special syllables. I'm not denying the potency and the relationship you have and how it can draw out in your heart, your soul, your love, your devotion. But we went, it was pleasurable. We went to, and I got to go to Sridhar Maharaj's ashram and his bhajan kutir, which I visited literally 40 years ago. It was out in the wilderness. Now it's in the middle of a city like everything else in India. And I went to the place. I met him once where I met him. That was nice. Gorkishore Das Babaji Samadhi, Jagannath Das Babaji Samadhi, Keshava Maharaj's Samadhi, Prabhupada Sannyas Guru, and then some obscure places. But my favorite place there, it was like an ashram house almost, but it was definitely, you go up the floor and there was 3 rooms and they have deities, and it was a sadhu named Kanapriya Goswami, and I heard about him because when I wrote this article, which has become quite prominent about Srila Bhakti Siddhanta and Raganuga Sadhana, to defend the Bhajan Pranali, the way Bhakti Siddhanta emphasized kirtan, where, Radhakund has this Ekadas Bhav, you meditate on your 11 characteristics of your spiritual form. I got this book called The Nectarian Glories of the Holy Name. It was translated in English. And it was this powerful, powerful treatise about the supremacy of Nam Kirtan for Raganuga Bhakti, for anything. And this person was one of the most famous, I think, he may have been the Siksha Guru of Dr. Fakir Mohan, who I had relationship with, but he was one of the most famous Gaudiyas of attainment. Even, I've heard of him before. We went to the ashram, and the interesting thing is, they don't accept donations. They don't want anything to compromise that mood of chanting the holy name. We went up, they had, I sent a picture, there was a sadhu there, and there were two grihastas chanting in front of their deities, and they gave us instruments. There was no harmonium, there was no mridanga. It was just the simplest, with this wampus, it was just the simplest melody, repeated over and over again. So that was really just such a sweet place, and there was some other place. So, and the reason I went also is because from my experience, one of the 5 most potent items of devotional service is Mathura Vas, and that means visiting the holy places and entering the Dham. It really reveals the Dham and the flavor of the Dham. So I knew that I when I come here, I should go out and visit some holy places. So I went out in that way. So it was nice. And of course, I have these really beautiful quarters. There's another room here, and it's on the roof. I can go outside my room and just see the yoga pit, maybe 200 yards away. Maybe, it seems about 200 yards, maybe. I can't measure it. I can see Lord Chaitanya's birthplace. It's an 8-minute walk to the temple. And so I guess this is appropriate. I'm going to be 75, so I don't know if I'm unemployed, retired, or sannyas, but it's age appropriate. There should be a time in life. There should be times of the day. I mentioned this many times. There should be times of the day for Krishna, our sadhana. There should be times of the month, Madhavatiti, Bhakati, Janani, the days of Lord Hari give birth to devotion. And there should be times of the year, pilgrimage. Some of you I see here, are going to go on pilgrimage in, not many in Puri, although we do have that Catholic retreat center filled up, and we have some amazing people coming. One of the most prominent preachers in Russia, she just called me up and wants to come. Not with all her followers, just herself. Her name is Malika Mala. Very, very special devotee. And she just wants to come to the retreat because she's heard about the kirtaniers we have and the talks we have. So that's really good. Okay, and I'm really excited that in the Metro Mantra Sanga that Bṛhad-bhāgavatāmṛta Swami is going to come. That's really kind of prestigious for what we're doing to get someone of his caliber coming. And I think we all appreciate him. This is for you. It's not even for any of you because you're not my age, but when we were young, I told you we used to watch this television show about a detective called Joe Friday. And his line was, and everything, he would cut through everything. It's just the facts, ma'am, just the facts. So it's really refreshing to hear Bṛhad-bhāgavatāmṛta Swami, just Prabhupada, what Prabhupada said, in a very simple, clear, lucid way. And then also our revival of a real, what Prabhupada wanted in terms of a Sunday feast. Really nice prasadam. It's so important to give love. Bhukte, bhojyate chaiva, nupadeshamrta, giving prasadam, accepting prasadam. And people need love. They don't need something. When I first came to the temple, actually the devotee who first preached to us, Bhavananda, he's 83, he's here, he invited me to come see him. he sat next to it. I remember I was sitting in that Los Angeles temple, and the prasadam was coming down, and we got this plate, and it was so delicious. And one plate came. I thought it was 4 of us, but everyone got a plate. Everyone got a plate. We didn't pay for it. It's just given out of love. And when it's cooked nicely and you please someone, again, I mentioned many times, it's not just a sensual experience, it's an emotional experience. And if anything, what people need in the present age is an emotional experience. There's so much loneliness and conflict and polarization, And then the other realization too, when I went to that ashram where they didn't accept they don't give a donation here, I just thought, and I was speaking with Dhanurdhara Swami, what the Prabhupada's mission needs more. I'm not saying there's not, but it definitely needs more Vaishnavas. Without this icha dvesha, without ambition, without competition, icha dvesha, we should all become Vaishnavas. Prabhupada is not an ordinary thing. When our hands are folded and we're looking to serve people, we're not in a competitive mood for them, we're happy when they flourish. So that's my mood now. The greatest service for Prabhupada has become Vaishnavas, and anyone could become a Vaishnav, although it's not an ordinary thing. Just a loving service mood. And especially if you want to chant the holy name properly, the biggest obstacle to the manifestation of the sweetness of the holy name is Vaishnav Ninda, criticism of Vaishnavas. And I read something today that the only way to actually achieve that, because we're born icha dvesha, desire and hate, and the hate means the false ego. False ego means superiority, and one superiority is putting others down, and we get pleasure from that. And I was reading today, the only way we can do that is if we see God in everyone. And the point was made so very beautiful. That's the beginning of devotional life, and it's the perfection of devotional life. But in the beginning, you see God everywhere. And in the advanced stage, you feel God everywhere. So now we'll go a little Bṛhad-bhāgavatāmṛta. Let me get where we are. Okay. We'll read from text 20. The Bṛhad-bhāgavatāmṛta, Book 2, Chapter 1, Text 20. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Parāṁ kāṣṭhāṁ gataṁ tat-tad rasa-jātīyatocitam athāpi rasa-kṛt-tādṛg bhaktānām astu gatiḥ. They have all attained the ultimate limit of happiness, each in his own kind of ecstatic reciprocation with the Lord. But what place is destined for the exceptional devotees of the performer of the rasa dance? Purport. Well, someone may ask, if there's a hierarchy of greater and lesser devotees in Vaikuntha, then only some of them are fully happy. Is that proper? Aren't devotees of the Supreme Lord, especially those who have attained Vaikuntha, greater than mere liberated souls? Don't they enjoy the highest happiness above that of liberation? Now remember, I look at this purport, it's very long. I'm just going to read the last paragraph of it. Therefore, since various levels of sadhana bring various degrees of perfection, it is undeniable that in Vaikuntha, where happiness reaches its ultimate limits, some devotees enjoy more happiness and some less. And the final issue, those who practice the highest mode of the Lord's devotional service achieve one last extreme of perfection, the ecstasy known only by those whose love focuses exclusively on the lotus feet of the divine paramour of the gopis. Relative to this, the position of all other devotees is inferior. The nature of Vaikuntha, the spiritual kingdom, is such that each devotee, regardless of his mood of devotion, feels that in pursuing the tendency of his heart in his own relationship with the Lord, the happiness he tastes is unsurpassable. Still, Uttara wants to know what special destination await the Lord's most exceptional devotees. Those overflowing with spontaneous love for the lotus feet of Sri Nanda Kishore. Om Jnana Timarandasya Gananjana Shalakaya Chaksur Unmilitam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha. Let me go right back to the beginning of Sanatana Goswami's prayers to begin the Bṛhad-bhāgavatāmṛta. And in those prayers, I think in some of the words, it was Tasya Parama Antim. Those of you who've been listening to me, Parama Antim, the admission of Lord Chaitanya, Anarpita Charim Charat, for a very long time not given, the top of the top, Nigama kalpa Torah galitam phalam sukha mukha amrita dravya samyatam bhagavata vivita bhagavatam rasa-kṛt-tādṛg. The mature fruit of the Vedic knowledge. And the purpose of Sanatana Goswami's book is to give this samarpyatam unatoj rasam swabhakti swam, to give what Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is giving. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is giving, it's Krishna, giving his own bhakti of himself at the highest level. And so Sanatana Goswami has this mission, and he does it through a story of Jaimini Rishi, a very special soul, because he's one of the few people, he's there when Sukadev is speaking the Bhagavatam. When Sukadev is speaking the Bhagavatam to Maharaj Parikshit, and he's also sitting there when Parikshit is summarizing that to Uttara. And this summary of the Bhagavatam in this very unique way, and for its objective, and the Bhagavatam's objective is parama antim, to give this supreme ultimate level. It's done through this story of Parikshit summarizing to his mother the Bhagavatam, but taking that message of the Bhagavatam and condensing it into a story, which is a different story but explains the same points. And she went through this whole story. Mother Uttara heard of Narada Muni looking for the topmost recipient of Krishna's devotees. And when we've gone over this, maybe for the last year or two, it was so beautiful how that story was highlighted in such a powerful way when Narada comes to Dwarka and then finally winds up with Krishna explaining, and kind of he's upset with Satyabhama because she's not respecting the residents of Vrindavan or understanding them. And he tells her, you want to know why I love thee? Yeah, I'll tell you why. So now Uttara has that message. This is being explained by Jaimini Rishi to Janamejaya. And then Janamejaya, after that first story, I want to hear more. What else happened in this? And what else happened is that there's another story, and it's going to explain the same point, which is the theme of the Bṛhad-bhāgavatāmṛta, parāṁ antim, the end level of the untum of the parāṁ, which is the love of the gopis for Krishna, specifically the height of that love, Srimati Radharani, at the height of her separation, and to give that bhakti. And how do we get that bhakti? The process of getting that bhakti is hearing these stories and hearing the Bhagavatam and becoming attracted to their devotion. This technique that was given by generations after Lord Chaitanya of the Guru giving these 11 characteristics of one's spiritual identity, that's one aspect. And it's an aspect of Raganuga Bhakti, to kind of think of yourself in a particular way, that it gets, it's carried down over the ages, and it kind of got, things, how do you put it? Things kind of, when they're carried down, they lose their meaning. But the way that we've been taught, and it's coming from the real tradition, is that when we become attracted, a man doesn't think, I am a gopi. What he does is he appreciates, he hears about that devotion. I love that devotion. I'm attracted to that type of devotion, and you hear about that type of devotion. And then if internally, you develop a profound attraction for that, then that may carry you to a body, in your next life, in Krishna's Leela, where you can carry that out without a material conception of the body, but a spiritual conception of a manifestation of the particular devotion. So the way so first it's explained in a hierarchy of devotees, but then in the second book and the third book, it's explained in a hierarchy, a level of places. You can understand and appreciate that devotion by understanding the places that are molded to facilitate it. And that's what Uttara's real concern is now. She doesn't really know about the place. She wants to know about the highest place. And knowing about the highest place, then she hopes she'll understand about the highest love. So, Jaimini Rishi, Janamejaya, the grandson of Maharaj Pariksit, asked his guru, what else did they speak about? Because the Jaimini Rishi is telling about Maharaj Pariksit at the end of his life, instructing the end of his life, instructing his mother, Uttara. He says, what else happened? And Jami Rishi says, this is really confidential information. And confidential means not made public, because it'll either be misunderstood or it'll be abused. So you don't reveal confidential things. You don't announce them to the world. So he said, this is very confidential. But he tells him, I'll tell it to you because you're qualified. So he then begins to tell the story what happened. So after Uttara heard this, Krishna, at the end of the story, telling Satyabhama about the glories of the gopis, she wants to know about the place of this love. And somehow it's very important to understand which place is the highest. And she just begins to describe what her understanding is of the knowledge of various places and their levels. That people are materialistic, they can perform sacrifice, and they can elevate themselves to heavenly planets. Those who are completely detached, they can go to higher planets. And if the devotee has any tinge of material desire, he can enjoy in the higher planets and then go. And some people, so she explains all this, and then gets into this conception of hierarchy. And it's, what I can understand is, the hierarchy is more or less an intellectual conception. Emotionally, all the devotees have perfect love for Krishna, and they're completely satisfied. In the spiritual world, people don't go, this is higher love, they all have their love. It's so absorbing, it's so overwhelming. But to explain it and understand it, so on one level, there's no hierarchy, I can't pronounce that word, I'll look it up, get something, but somehow she comes to the conclusion that there are different levels of devotees, and they would describe, and somehow I don't think the explanations of them really distinguish them. In a way, from reading the purports, we'll understand them. But there were the Shuddha Bhaktas, the Jnana Bhaktas, the Prema Bhaktas, the Prema Para Bhaktas, the Prematura Bhaktas. And then there's some idea that they have different places. There's, Ayodhya, etc. I'd have to study this, but I don't think it's explained here clear. I would have to ask maybe Hari Parshad, the great Vaishnav scholar who's coming to my Puri Yatra. Somehow we got him to come for 3 days. And I always tell the story. He was just coming to my retreat and sitting in the audience humbly. Until I heard him answer some questions. I said, who is this person? And then, as my nature is very much inclined to empower people, I started to get him to give class there. And as it always happens, once I discover someone, they become bigger than my program. But anyway, there's this. So now she's saying, I'm not satisfied. I want to know the place that facilitates this love, because the environment reflects the type of love you want to enjoy there. So the highest love must have a special environment. So what place is destined for the exceptional devotees, attained by the exceptional devotees of the rasa-kṛt, who do the rasa, the bhaktānāms, astu, gatiḥ, their bhaktānām, astu, there should be a special destination for these people. So again, another way to put into our heart that this should be our aspiration, to have this kind of bhakti, braja bhakti. Ye sarva narapekshena 21. Radha das yechava parāṁ sankirtayanti tat-nama tadrasha priyatamaya. They chant his names and are full of unique love for him. Indifferent to everything else, they only want to become the servants of Radha. They are ye sarva narapekshena. They're indifferent to what? Sarva, everything. Radha dasya itchava. They only want Radha dasya. Sankirtayanti, and they chant tat-nama, they chant his names. And they're priyata maya, and they're so filled with love. Purport: the devotees of Sri Radha, who is the dearmost beloved of Lord Madan Gopal, are not impersonalists, void of desires. They are fully confident that if Sri Radhika accepts them as her servants, everything they desire will be achieved and more. The privilege of serving Sri Radha is the rarest goal of life, and it is fitting that this privilege be attainable only by executing the most excellence of sadhana. That is to say, one can please her divine grace only by the sacrifice of purely chanting the names of Rasa-Rasika, the hero of the rasa dance. In sweet voices, the servants of Sri Radha always melodiously and loudly chant Krishna's name. Such devotees are worthy to be engaged in such elevated service because their hearts are filled with the supreme variety of spontaneous, ecstatic love for Krishna. Anyesham ivatesham cha prapyam ched ridantripyati aho nanda yashodadir nashahe tadrishim gatim. If those special devotees attain only the same perfection of others, my heart will be left discontent. I won't be satisfied. For such devotees as Nanda and Yasoda to reach only the same destination, to me the very thought is intolerable. She's heard from Parikshit about the super excellent position. So he said that love must manifest a special environment. And if it doesn't, I will be dissatisfied. Someone might propose that Sri Mathurapuri, like Ayodhya and Dwarka, may be located in Vaikuntha. The devotees of Radha and Krishna may thus have their Vaikuntha Gokul, where they can enjoy pastimes with the Lord and feel happiness greater than that of the Yadavis. such as the Yadavas enjoy happiness greater than that of the Pandavas. That was the whole first chapter. Uttara, however, is not satisfied with this proposal. She cannot tolerate having the devotees of Gokul categorized with other ordinary Vaishnavas. Vidvanam mahim namhi yatra kashta parapara kotinam paryavasyanti samudre sarato yata. Varied and countless excellences flow into those devotees like rivers into the ocean. Wow. Vividhanam, various, mahimnam, excellences. And kāṣṭhāṁ, para, the most extreme, astu. Countless limits of the extreme excellences. Paryavasyanti, they accumulate, samudre, surita, like rivers in the ocean. They accumulate in these great devotees. And isn't it beautiful in this Bṛhad-bhāgavatāmṛta how many different ways the glories of the gopis are presented in different stories, in different perspectives. Purport, all varieties of perfection are fully manifest in the devotees of Gokul. Those devotees are perfectly beautiful, charming, and graceful, and they are endowed with the valuable assets of religious duty, economic development, sense gratification, renunciation, knowledge, realization, devotion, and pure love of God. All these perfections are present within them to the utmost degree possible for finite living beings. Whenever Sri Bṛhad-bhāgavatāmṛta depicts the glories of devotees lesser than the residents of Gokul, now this is important, its purpose is to highlight the greater glories of Gokula and demonstrate that all varieties of excellence flow ultimately into the residents of Gokul, just as waters of the river flow at last into the ocean. Tadartam uchitam sthanam ekam vaikunta param apekshitam avasyam syat tat prakasyo darasvamam. Therefore, a suitable place must surely exist for them beyond Vaikunta. Please reveal it to me and rescue me. Wow, such a long purport. I won't read the purport. Sri Jaminir Uvacha Matur Eva Maharamya Prashnena Nandita Sita Tam Natva Shasharomancham Arebe Pratibhashitum. Sri Jaimini said, delighted by this most pleasing inquiry from Mother Uttara, her son Parikshit bowed down to her and began his reply. Tears poured from his eyes, and his bodily hairs stood on end. So just see the question, which implies he can talk about these things, is just so inspiring for him that it invokes emotion. Bṛhad-bhāgavatāmṛta, it's all filled with rasa. It's all filled with this richness and this love that we must aspire for. Sri Parikshit Uvacha Sri Krishna Jivate Matas Tadiya Virahasahe Tavaiva Yogya Prashno Yam no krityo yascha kaschana. Sri Parikshit said, my dear mother, for you who live only for Krishna, separation from him is intolerable. This question of yours is most praiseworthy. No one has ever asked this question before. Krishna himself granted me the fortunate privilege to be born here from your womb as a grandson of his dear friend Arjuna, the husband of Sri Subhadra. To protect both me and you from the Brahmastra weapon, Krishna appeared within your womb holding his disc and club. In my childhood, he led me to search constantly among men for his own form, a meditation worthy of the most exalted Vaishnavas. By him, I was endowed with the qualities of great saints and made famous by subduing Kali. By faithfully following him, I gained wonderful royal opulences. Then, through a Brahmin's curse, he made me renounce everything. Okay, I think this is a good place to stop. I'll figure it out next time, somewhere in the 20s. Jamuna Jaya is doing a retreat in Costa Rica, so I don't think she is here. So Gail, do you have any questions?
Hare Krishna Maharaj. Yeah, going back to the beginning when you were talking about your absorption and your chanting.
Yeah.
And you were explaining that, of course, the mantra is, sublime, the syllables, but it was not the activity so much as, I think you said, the feeling, right?
Would be what? The what?
Not so much the activity as much as the feeling.
Well, the activity is also, the feeling comes from the activity. I mean, the bliss is in the holy name, but in any relationship, the bliss is the person's revelation of their love for you. And that's very much dependent on your own consciousness. So I'm not saying that there's no bliss. The holy name is Nama Chintamani Krishna Chaitanya Rasa Vigraha Shuddha Purno Nitya Mukta Namano Bina. It's everything is there in the holy name, but it's a person, and flavor in association with a person is the relationship, and a lot of that depends on our love.
Mm-hmm. Okay, Maharaj. Yeah, I think it's clear now.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. Anybody else like to say hello today before I go downstairs?
You have? Okay, it's probably the same class then, yeah.
Who's saying hello?
Yes, they are different times of it. Yeah, this is the longest one at 90 minutes, yeah. But you can go anywhere. I would suggest going in the back row if you're like still a beginner.
Wait, someone is talking.
All right, cool.
And we hear you. Would someone like to say hello?
Maharaj, this is Krishna-katha. Thank you so much for this talk. Thank you greatly.
Someone is talking.
Okay. Anybody? Thank you. Anybody else say hello?
Hare Krishna Maharaj.
Good morning, Maharaj.
And Bṛhad.
How come it doesn't come on? In full. But nice to see you.
Good to see you too.
Lal, we'll see you soon.
Looking forward to it. Well, your mercy and blessings.
Okay. Anybody else say hello?
Okay.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. Bhakti Devi.
Hey, Bhakti Devi. Haribo.
Haribo, how are you? It's so good to see you.
Good to see you too.
Good morning, Maharaj. This is Benny.
Hey, Denny. Nice to hear from you. Great.
Thank you for the class. Always a pleasure to sit in. I appreciate it.
Okay, Haribo. Thank you. Who else?
Hare Krishna Maharaj, thank you for class. It's Amala.
Amala Vaishnav, Haribo. Who else? Say hello.
Hello. Hare Krishna.
Samantha.
Maharaj,
Samantha.
good to see you.
Professor, nice to see you.
Can we please connect in 2025?
What'd you say that?
Let's connect soon,
Okay.
please.
Yeah, why don't you can even WhatsApp me if you like, okay?
Ooh, I would love to. Thank you.
Okay, send me a message. We'll make some time. Anybody else say hello? Before I'll just look at the list after this and just see everyone who's there. But one or two more people and then we'll go. Okay, I'm just looking at the list and see everybody that's there. Thank you all for coming. We did wind up with a nice group. And thank you all for being on the class, okay? Vanchakalpa tarubhyascha kripa sindhu bhayevacha patitanam pavane